Hi, I'm Debbie Carden, and today I'm going to teach you a little bit about Braille. Braille is a system used by people who are blind or visually impaired to be able to read or to write. It was invented in 1824 by Louis Braille when he was just 15 years old. Louis was born in France and was sighted when he was born, but at the age of 3 he was playing in his father's woodshed and fell on a tool, and both of his eyes became infected and had to be removed. So Louis was born sighted and blinded at the age of 3. He was a very bright child, and while children at the time who were blind were not taught in regular classes, Louis was allowed to go to a regular classroom, and then later was sent to a school for the blind in Paris. This is where he created Braille. At that time, the children used books with raised alphabets, but this was hard for the children to determine the different letters by feeling them. So Louis thought that there was probably a better way to do this. A person who was in the military, a military officer, came to the school and taught the children about something that they called night writing, which was a system that they had created where the people could punch holes and someone could read it by feeling it. Louis decided to take this idea and to come about with his own system for children or adults who were blind. And he created the Braille alphabet. The Braille alphabet that we use today was created by Louis Braille, and it includes not only the alphabet, but numbers, a number system for math, and musical systems, because Louis was a great musician and came up with a Braille system for that as well. If you're going to teach children to do Braille, one of my favorite ways to do this is to use graham crackers and make cookies. Braille is written in something we call the Braille cell. A Braille cell is a rectangle with 6 spaces in it, and you can teach them about this using cards. You can make little index cards with stickers to show them the different letters, or you can put balls into a muffin tin to show them the different letters. For instance, this is the letter G. Of course, it's a lot more fun to create cookies that they can eat. So right now I'm going to have my son show you how to make his name in Braille. This one right here says Mom in Braille. This is my son Zach.
Hello.
I've done this before using peanut butter on the cookies and M&Ms. Zach is going to use icing and Skittles. If you're concerned about peanut allergies, you may want to do this. So Zach's going to look right here and figure out how to do his name.
I think I've got this. Sorry. Speed this up a bit.
Obviously it takes a little bit longer to write in Braille than it does to write
I don't know,
regularly.
I'm pretty slow with normal writing too. So. There you go.
Z-A-C. Thank you, Zach. There are 6 spaces in the Braille cell, and each of the letters has its own system to show you how to write it. Each of the numbers does them as well, and there's also a way to show that something is capitalized, a way to put periods or question marks. When you are writing a full letter instead of or a full note or something instead of just an individual letter, you will probably use something called a Braille slate and stylus. There are many different types of slates and stylus, and they come in different sizes, from business card size to legal pad size. This would be the slate, and this would be the stylus. There are also many different kinds of stylus. It's got a slightly pointed end, but it's not something that would hurt a child to use. We also have something called a Braille eraser, so if you make a mistake, you can wipe out the little indentation so to wipe it away. One thing that is important to note, if you're going to use a slate and stylus to write a letter or a note, we don't write from left to right as you do when you're writing a regular letter. You're going to have to swap it around and do from right to left, because when the person takes the note out and reads it, it's going to be the opposite. So you're going to want to have the Braille alphabet written backwards so that you can use your slate and stylus. I'm going to write a quick note. I have a colleague who is blind, and I sometimes write her notes. For instance, this note says, Gilly, I have an IEP scheduled for Monday at 9. Can you make it? Debbie. And I went ahead already and I did the Braille for that one. But I'm going to write a quick note that says, how are you? So all I need to do is find the H. I'm going to start over on this side, and I'm going to use the backwards H. H, just simply punching in on each of my areas here. H, O, W. It becomes faster once you get used to it. And then I would skip a space here, because you skip a space in between all lines. I would continue going, how are you? If I was going to write a longer note, I would finish this line and then go down to this line. When the person reads the note, they would just feel it right here and move on. So that's a little bit about the Braille system. I do want to show you a couple of other things you can purchase from different sites. This is two Braille cells that children can use to learn how to write, and we've got Hi right here. This is what I call a Braille Rubik's Cube. It's got each of the 6 cells, and it's got raised dots so you can move it around to make the letter that you want it to make. There's a few websites you can check out if you're interested in learning more about Braille. The first one is www.afb.org, which is the American Federation for the Blind. It produces something called the Braille Trail. It has things you can purchase, but it has a great site for children to learn about Braille, and it uses the Braille bug to teach them. The next website is www.aph.org, which is the American Printing House for the Blind. It produces books for people who are blind or visually impaired in Braille. The next one is www.nfb.org, the National Federation for the Blind. It has a lot of information about famous people who are blind, or people who helped people who are blind or visually impaired. The final one is www.hotbraille.com. It's a great site where you can go on, and if you have someone that you know that reads Braille, you can put in a message and they will create a Braille note and mail it to that person for you, so that you don't have to know Braille yourself. They'll do it for you. So I hope you've learned a little bit about Braille today and that you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Bye.